Hello, everyone. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr. This is my review of a film that came out in 1952. This was directed by Fred Zinnemann and stars Gary Cooper, Lloyd Bridges, Grace Kelly, Katie Jurado, and Lon Chaney Jr. And in a small non-speaking part, you'll notice a young Lee Van Cleef in this film. He was in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. He played the bad in that film. In this film, he's just a goon for the main bad guy, but still has a presence here, nevertheless. So, yeah, High Noon is one of my favorite all time westerns. I really love the story here. It's basically one man all by himself who has to take down a group of gunmen. One of them he put away years ago, and he is on his way back to town on the noon train. And our main character has just gotten married. He's just gotten married to Grace Kelly. I really enjoy her performance here. She's also really great in Rear Window. I haven't seen that many of her films, but yeah, she's a really great actress from the two films I have seen. And Gary Cooper, I haven't seen many Gary Cooper movies, but judging by this movie and knowing that he won the Academy Award for this part for Best Actor, I can see why. He does a great job in this part, and all throughout the movie, even though he does feel like a natural kind of tough guy, he is also very sympathetic, and at times when he's trying to get people to join him in this sort of, well, what's could be essentially be just slaughter, because he's like all alone. He has one deputy that doesn't want to help him out, played by Lloyd Bridges. And Lloyd Bridges, uh, when he got older, was in a lot of funny spoofs, and very funny man who passed away years ago. I really enjoyed his episodes as Mr. Mandelbaum on Seinfeld. Very, very funny man. And very funny, of course, in movies like Airplane and the Hot Shots movies. Um, but yeah, here he plays kind of a douche, and a character that still you can see him and the main character, the sheriff, played by Gary Cooper. You can see there's a history there, and there is some kind of a respect there, but he has a major hostility towards him, and a lot of that has to do, I think, with a woman that came between them, played by Katie Jurado, Latina actress in the movie. She is really good. I really like her in the part, and it's really interesting. She has some scenes with Grace Kelly. At some point, Grace Kelly decides to confront her. Basically, she goes upstairs to sort of see what's going on, because her husband is, for the most part, out trying to see if anyone is gonna help him out in this situation that he's in. And for the most part, Grace Kelly spends a lot of the movie alone, by herself, just looking worried. And some of that is done at the train station, and then she does decide to come back and get a little closer to town so that she can be closer to her husband in case anything happens. And then she happens to be in the same location where uh, a woman who Kay Jurado is, who she's playing, uh, her man's ex, basically. And so when she realizes that she's like upstairs in the same location, the scene that they have together, they have a few good scenes that are really, really good, and they seem to have quite an understanding with each other. And the dialogue in this movie is really well written, and even the pacing of the movie, for a movie that doesn't have much as far as like shooting, or there is some shooting in the movie, there is some little fisticuffs in the movie between characters, but for the most part, this is not an action story. This is kind of a slow burn, and a character study about a man that you can tell he's very used to having control in this town, but in this last day on the job, when uh, you know this that he put away is coming back, and nobody will side with him because they know how dangerous this criminal is. He just has such a tough time, and you really feel for him. And watching him go through some of these scenes, you see him almost break down, or practically he does break down in one scene actually, and it's like wow, for a lot of these older movies, they really didn't get too much emotion from some filmmakers, and yeah, the early '50s into the mid and late '50s was really sort of a bland era for a lot of films, but movies like High Noon stood out like a sore thumb back then, and to this day still stand out because of the great storytelling, of the great screenwriting, and even the performances here. A lot of older films, a lot of the acting, just a lot of people can feel sort of kind of very like a one note kind of play. And some of the best movies of the '50s sort of break away from that. Movies like um, A Streetcar Named Desire or 12 Angry Men, movies where the dialogue feels real. And this being a Western, when I watch this movie and I hear the dialogue and just the combination of how good the set design is with the costumes and the cinematography being on point. I mean, 1952, we're talking. And yeah, this movie stands the test of time. This is a really great story, and I can see this story echoed in many other films. And when I think about James Mangold's film Copland, man, this guy's gonna get a ticket. Keep that up, you'll get a ticket eventually. Uh, James Mangold's film Copland from 1997 uh, pays a lot of homage to High Noon. And watching High Noon a couple years after watching Copland, I saw a lot of similarities. And yeah, this is just another great classic black and white film from the '50s that I will be talking about, or one of the many films that I'll be talking about. Not that I'll talk about this again, unless I decide to talk about like my top 10 westerns, then maybe I will. But yeah, and there's a song in the film that plays all throughout the film. Um, Do Not Forsake Me, Oh My Darling. That is sung by a famous Western singer, Tex Ritter. And little movie trivia for people: Tex Ritter was the father of famous John Ritter from Three's Company and Problem Child and Bride of Chucky and Stephen King's It and many other things. John Ritter was a man that he was in a lot of movies that, well, let's see, what else was it? I was gonna say a lot of movies I can't name, but I was just all of a sudden like Stay Tuned comes to mind. For those of you that remember 1992's Stay Tuned, and now I'm trying to think of everything. Okay, this is not a John Ritter retrospective. Talking about High Noon, but yeah, a little fun fact there. And it's really interesting how the music. I like how the music, that song, you hear it throughout the movie in certain scenes, and later on towards the end, the the guy that does the music score incorporates that song into the music score and does sort of an operatic kind of version of it that gets sort of intense, and especially towards the end of the film where there's some pretty exciting sort of gunplay scenes with our main character and the bad guys. Like I said, this is a slow burn, and the story really sort of builds and builds as this guy just sort of can't, for the life of him, can't get anybody to pick up a gun and join him. And but at the end of the film, sorry, I got spoilers. Nobody fucking wants to help him. Okay, nobody. And that's one of the great things about this film, is seeing this guy kind of experience that, because that's what makes sort of the end gunfight all the more uh, fun and exciting to watch, because he basically ends up having to take on these guys all by himself. And yeah, Gary Cooper in High Noon, real badass and really great early '50s film. One of my favorite westerns. Highly recommend this one. The side characters are all fun. Like I said, Lloyd Bridges, he's not very funny in this movie. He plays a serious character. And there's even, like I said, Lon Chaney Jr. has a small part in this movie. Um, well, I don't know if I said that already, but yeah, he's in this movie, and for the time that he's in it, he's not in it very much, but he does have a couple good scenes with, or at least one really good scene with Gary Cooper, and uh, yeah, he's again one of those characters that Gary Cooper comes to thinking, okay, this guy, there's no way this guy is not gonna help me out and throw down with me. He's an old buddy. And yeah, that's the kind of thing. All his old buddies, everyone in the town is just like, nope, sorry. He even goes to the church, and people in the church are like, like one of those kind of scenes. So yeah, but then by the time you get to the end and it's time for the big shoot 'em up, it's so worth it. So if you're into this kind of stuff, if you like westerns, please check it out. High Noon. If you have a trouble finding on streaming, I have seen this on streaming in the past. I think I saw it on Amazon Prime, possibly on the Turner Classic Movies section of HBO Max. But if you're having trouble with that, the hard copies exist. There's the Blu-ray. It's Gary Cooper himself, and yeah, nominated for best what director, screenplay, picture. Great film. So yeah, highly recommend High Noon from 1952. So thank you very much. And if you are into these classic movie reviews, please keep a lookout for more of them. And I will be putting out the other part of the top 10 greatest, sorry, top 25, 25. That's right. My own personal 25 films of the 1990s. So that's coming real soon. Look out for that. And thank you very much. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all that stuff. And thank you very much. Till next time. Appreciate you. Bye bye.